7 seconds, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And in the first matchup, as a ranked team against another ranked team in the history of Davenport football, the Davenport Panthers stay perfect and stay tied for first in the GLIAC with a come-from-behind win over the Saginaw Valley State Cardinals. Final score, Davenport 29, Davenport 29, and Saginaw Valley 28. We'll take a break.
And with that, we welcome you to the Davenport Coaches Show, live from Uccello's in Caledonia, with the still glowing head football coach, Sparky McEwen, after that thrilling 29-28 ball game at Saginaw Valley University Center. And my goodness, what a ball game, Coach. 5 lead changes in the second half. I know that's one of those, it's a cliche. Some people say it's a shame someone had to lose it, but it was just a fantastic game, and your guys had just a little bit more at the end to pull it out.
It was exciting for everyone involved, our fans, our school, and more importantly, our players. And, you know, they've been accustomed to playing tough late into games and staying focused and, you know, understanding the peaks and valleys of how this thing works. And I couldn't be more proud of this group. They're a pretty resilient group.
Yeah, again, we said 5 lead changes. They had every opportunity to say, you know, maybe our string is coming to an end here, because Saginaw Valley, well, you told us that they were going to be tough, especially between the tackles, but you continue to keep fighting and trying to do it. And there's a stat that just jumps out, and one that I know you're proud of, all your staff is proud of. When you look at the number of plays, 87 plays from scrimmage you ran, 47 for the opposition, 2-to-1 time of possession, 87 plays, Coach, and one tackle for loss out of 87. What a job by your offensive line.
You know, it's something that you talk about that, because a lot of times, you know, when it comes to what we do in coaching college football or professional football, high school football, you know, those young people don't get enough credit, you know, on the defensive lines and offensive lines. And I couldn't be more proud of the group that we have. It's a young group, and they went out and they took care of the football when we needed to, and that was significant what they did there to, you know, in that ball game, because I think it was an 8-minute plus drive, and we obviously had the score, but there was a heads-up play that was executed, and just to secure the victory.
If you didn't see it, Davenport was using that clock up, and they had the ball at the 12-yard line, I believe. They handed the ball off to Khalif Jenkins. He picks up the key first down. That is just about enough to wind out. It is enough to wind out the final seconds. But Saginaw Valley tries to let Khalif the Beef Jenkins score. They want him to score because that's their only chance. They're down 1. If they get a touchdown or an extra point, then they're down 8. They at least mathematically have a chance. But Khalif Jenkins, through some heads-up play on his part, some of the fellow players, I'm told, and coaches knew to go down, and he fell down at the 1-yard line, even though that goal line has got to be so enticing, Coach. How does a player turn that instinct off to take it into the end zone?
Well, we like to give the example of, have you ever watched a semi-truck in one of those action-packed movies, and when they hit the brakes, and it just the tire starts smoking, and it finally comes to a halt? You know, we had a 260-ton, you know, running back headed down towards that goal line, man, and just watching him hit the brakes and go down.
They even tried to pull him in, and they weren't going to pull that semi-truck in the end zone.
No, it was a thing of joy. The Beef did a good job, and, you know, hats off to, you know, the football team. You know, the defense got a big-time stop, you know, to give us the ball back and give us an opportunity. And you and I have seen this all year, you know, where our defense has shown up big in the right moments, the key moments, and just to give us a chance to win in the end.
No one embodies that more than perhaps your reserve, Devin McGee. He had that key interception in overtime up at Northern Michigan, and here he pounced on a key fumble recovery that sparked the final drive for a touchdown.
Devin, you know, what a great young man, you know, and has a great personality, good character guy, and he's always around the ball. You know, he's a little guy that plays big, and once again, you know, you need those type of role players to come in and you know, understand their role and make things happen when their name is called.
You know, I thought the key sequence perhaps in that game was Jason Whitaker, who threw 3 more touchdown passes, threw an interception. They had the ball in the 30 with the lead at our 30. but they turned right back, and Shaq Floyd picked one off, and that turned things back around for us.
Yeah, what a year he's having. What a year Shaq is having. And, we were thin in that position area, and he had to go in and help us out in that area. And I thought he did a tremendous job of filling in and playing a big role for us. He's just that type of athlete.
Boy, I tell you what, again, another key play I thought was a pass that looked like it was going to be intercepted and possibly a pick six, but was deflected. And was it Brendan Sherrod who took the deflection and not only avoided the interception, turned it into a key first down on a third down play.
You're talking about a veteran football player, a guy that's been here 3 years, and he waited his opportunity, his chance to perform. And, I've always said that, veterans are the ones that you win big games and championships with, and he's made some really big plays for us, Sherrod has, and, he's gotten comfortable with our quarterback, and they've got a great relationship, and we're going to need that as we move forward in this next couple weeks.
You mentioned Shaq Floyd, the senior defensive back, was named the GLIAC Defensive Player of the Week for his performance. He forced a fumble, had 3 tackles, and 2 of those for a loss, and had that key interception we talked about in the third quarter. It was his 7th career interception, which is 3rd best in Davenport history. Also, Brandon Gilo kicked 3 more field goals. They had one block that stopped his perfect string. I'm not sure if that was a low kick or if somebody got through the line. But in any case, he well-deserved award for the 2nd time this year for 3 field goals and extra points as well.
BG, he leads the conference, in that area. And it's one of those stats that you love to have for the student athlete. But, I would much rather punch those things in there for touchdowns. But when you have a reliable guy, like BG, to come in and we have the confidence in him the way that we do to knock in those points, that's so important. And Shaq, like I said earlier, man, he's just playing an amazing role for us. He plays corner. He's a guy that's getting some NFL attention, and he plays safety for us as well. So having that type of athlete on our back end helps us out tremendously.
Well, you mentioned the offensive line. You brought an offensive lineman, Trent Allen, a young man who's already made a huge impact in his first year here with your program. We're going to visit with him in just a second. A little later in the program, we're going to talk men's basketball. The basketball team has had an exhibition opener last night at historic Hinkle Fieldhouse at Butler University in Indianapolis. We'll talk with Bert Paddock about that as well. Then we'll come back and talk about the big matchup this Saturday at Ferris State, one of the biggest games. They just keep getting bigger, Coach. So they get more fun. They get bigger and bigger each week, it seems like. So we'll talk about that later in the show.
Awesome.
All right, we'll take a break and come back with Trent Allen. Stay with us here on the Davenport Coaches Show.
West Michigan home buyers, if you're considering lenders, please contact Mario Flores at 231-638-0200 at Van Dyke Mortgage on the Lakeshore. It's a wonderful time to be in the market for a mortgage when you choose Van Dyke Mortgage on the Lakeshore. Van Dyke's loan experts know how to help you prepare and help you get approved. Don't wait for the market to be perfect. Start your planning with Mario Flores, branch manager at Van Dyke Mortgage on the Lakeshore.
Mario Flores, NMLS number 135862. Van Dyke Mortgage Corporation, Corp. NMLS number 3035. 231-638-0200. MarioFlores.VanDykeMortgage.com. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
And we continue with the Davenport Coaches Show, live from Uccello's in Caledonia. Normally we're here on Tuesday nights, Wednesday night this week because we had a men's basketball game we had to take care of last night. But we're talking football right now. Trent Allen, our special guest, the player, the freshman from Windermere, Florida, joins us. And Trent, what a great job. We talked a little bit with Coach about the pride you guys had with 87 plays and only 1 tackle for loss. That only happens one way, and that is if your offensive line is dialed in, and you guys were on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we got a great group of guys up front. We're all super close with each other, and we just go out, we have fun, and take care of business when we need to.
Talking to you before the show tonight, you were telling me that you and some of your other teammates were a little surprised when Khalif Jenkins went in towards the end zone and then dropped down at the one that caught you off guard a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when we're given the play, we're told to do our job, and that's what we do, and we try to make holes for Khalif. And when he went down, we all recognize it was a really smart play by him to do.
Trent, a long way from home, from Windermere, Florida, outside of Orlando. Tell us how you became familiar with Davenport and what eventually helped you decide to come here.
Yeah, so Coach Mello was one of the coaches that initially reached out to me, and he told me about the program, and I came up here on a visit. I love the program, the facilities, and the coaches, and, that really just sealed the deal for me.
Tell us a little bit about your high school days, your football coach, Hendrick, there, how he helped you develop as a player and maybe as a person. Who knows?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my head football coach, Matt Hendrick, I went to Catholic high school. Big part of my life is my faith. And so he kind of helped me just become a better person. And, while I was there, that's when I really developed into, what led me to being recruited by Davenport.
You mentioned your faith, Trent. I have to think that that was a real challenge for your faith in thinking about going that far away from home, from family and friends. How did you deal with that?
Yeah, it was definitely hard. I love my family. I love my home. But at the end of the day, I love playing football, and it was just one of the sacrifices I had to make.
All right, now something special is happening this year. I mean, 8-0 already set a program record for wins and just national rankings, and a first time ever, a top 25 showdown turned into a victory. Was there a point somewhere along the line, maybe preseason, maybe 2 or 3 games in, where you and your fellow linemen said, hey, we got something brewing here at Davenport?
I think really after the Truman win, we saw it all come together at that game, and we made, I'm going to be honest, we made a lot of mistakes that game that we have fixed over the season, and just seeing the potential that we had together was pretty amazing, and we all knew we had something special.
Trent, you're a business management major. What are you it's a long ways down the road, but what are you thinking about doing with that maybe once your Davenport days are done?
Yeah, so currently I don't really know. I'm still a freshman, so I still have a lot of time to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the reasons why I picked business management, was so that I could go into different fields and I wasn't really stuck in one area.
Well, you're in a great school for that and a great opportunity here. You mentioned your family, Trent. Have they been able to get up and see you play at all yet in person, or what's the situation with that?
So, yeah, I've been very fortunate that they've been able to come up for a couple home games. Yeah, it's been cool just showing them around and showing them, what we do on the field.
Their first taste of West Michigan also, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, you got to get them over here to Uccello's next time they come, if you haven't already done that, and taste some of this great food. And we want to get you over there so you can be enjoying more of that food here at Uccello's. Trent, great having you here. Great job, you and the whole offensive line. Congrats on a terrific outing on Saturday. We look for more bigger things this week and the following week as well.
Thank you.
All right, it's Trent Allen. We'll take a break, come back and talk a little men's basketball here in the Davenport Coaches Show here from Uccello's in Caledonia.
Van Dyke Mortgage on the Lakeshore's commitment to finding the right home loan for you is second to none. The experienced licensed team at Van Dyke on the Lakeshore will work hard to give you a smooth and timely mortgage process from application to closing. Mario Flores, branch manager at Van Dyke Mortgage on the Lakeshore, has access to a full range of mortgage products so that you get the right loan with a great rate, the terms you're looking for, and costs to meet your unique needs. Call Mario Flores at 231-638-0200 today and experience the Van Dyke Mortgage difference.
Mario Flores, NMLS 135862, Van Dyke Mortgage Corporation, Corp NMLS 3035, 231-638-0200, marioflores.vandykemortgage.com. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
And we continue with the Davenport Coaches Show. Switching gears, we're going to talk a little bit of men's basketball after enjoying football. We still got the final football segment coming up to talk about this week's big game at Ferris State. But head basketball coach Bert Paddock joins us right now. And, Coach, you got a chance to get a scrimmage in last week. And last night your players had an incredible opportunity, maybe a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, to go down and play an exhibition game at one of the true cathedrals of the sport, at Hinkle Fieldhouse, legendary Hinkle Fieldhouse, where they had so many high school state championship game and memories, and of course, and it's where Hoosiers, the movie, was shot for the championship game. Tell us about the experience the guys got going down there and playing last night.
Well, we're so thankful for the opportunity. We got to go down there, went down the night before, and then had a shoot around the morning of the exhibition game. And what just a cool experience for our kids to walk through the hallways and get to see some of the just the trophies and the balls. I mean, there was a ball in that had laces on it from the 1920s.
The players were intrigued by that.
It was really cool. I sent it to my father-in-law, asked if it was his last game ball that he played with. Got a good kick out of that. But just an incredible place to go. A lot of our kids had seen the movie Hoosiers, which most of that movie was shot for. A big portion of that movie was shot from. And so for our kids to walk through there and just to get the experience, what that place was like, and then the actual experience of playing in the game and how many people were there and how loud it got. And just kids at this level don't get those opportunities that often, and I really appreciate the opportunity that those coaches down there gave us, and hopefully it's something our kids will remember for a long time.
Well, they had over 5,000 people there last night for an exhibition game, and it sounded like 55,000. So in terms of what they're going to face down the road in terms of hostile environments, I think that they can say that they're not going to have anything to that degree down the road here.
Well, we appreciate those opportunities to get to play in that environment, but also I think it does get us ready for situations. When you go to Michigan Tech and deal with their band, and when you go up to Ferris and they got a packed house and people are yelling, it just makes it – you've been through that situation. And so since you have gone through it, you know how to deal with that, and makes you a better team and helps you come together as a team better. And, you don't just go to play the game. You try to get some advantages from it, and you try to grow as a team. And we watched a ton of video today, Rick, and we watched for about 6 hours today, and I really feel good about where our team's at. They care. We didn't play great in that game yesterday, but like you said, we learned things from it. We moved forward. We're still 0-0 and look forward to our first upcoming game.
Yeah, it was an exhibition game. It doesn't count, and I know you told me beforehand, you and the coaches, you wanted to see execution, but maybe the thing you were looking for most was how are they going to compete in that situation?
Yeah, you know what? We went back and watched the film today. After the game, I was a little disappointed. We did give up 90 points. That being said, we went back and watched the film today, and I was really impressed with our guys on the floor. We had some young kids really leading our group. I mean, being very vocal and making sure we were getting into the right things, and we didn't always score out of everything that we ran or get stops out of every defensive segment that we put in or whatever, but I felt good about the kids on the floor talking through things and trying to help each other out and kind of taking some things off the coach's plate. I always feel like a player-led team is always way better than a coach-led team. And I saw some really good things from that standpoint yesterday. And just the idea that today we had every single kid on our team coming in watching film on their own. It was a day off, and every kid was coming in, got in the gym, and was coming up and wanting to watch film with our coaching staff. Man, really is encouraging for me as we move forward.
I'm going to ask you this. I asked it last night before the game, but I think it's worth bringing up again, is that your incredible finish last year where things weren't going really well for the team, and then you all of a sudden got on a hot streak at the end, just got into the league playoffs, and then became the first number 8 seed in the history of GLIAC men's basketball to win the postseason tournament, winning 3 straight games on the road like that as you did. Is there a carryover, Coach, or are you just starting from scratch again?
Well, I will say this. I answered that question yesterday for you, but I think I got a better answer. We go back 15 years ago when I first got here, and I said the one thing we can only control the controllables, and one thing we can control is our fight and the way that we compete every day. And you can't look in the mirror and keep moving forward, or keep in the rearview mirror and keep moving forward. And last year's team, we weren't playing great, and we were way down the line. We were just fighting to get into the conference tournament, as you said, and I think if you just continue to fight every day, whether it's in life, whether it's in class, whether it's on the court or whatever it is, good things will happen to those that work really, really hard. And that's kind of the thing that we pride ourselves on, is every day in practice, try to get a little bit better, compete as hard as you can, and compete with each other, make each other better. And at the end of the year, we were playing better than anybody else. And I think it was a testament to our seniors who led us and got us to do that every day. And we weren't taking days off and feeling sorry for ourselves, but trying to get better. And I think that we kind of keep preaching that to our kids this year, and trying to convince them that, we're not where we want to be today. We don't expect to be. But just hard work every day, pushing each other to be the best you can be, will be the only thing that can allow us to reach the goals and get us to be the best we can be come March. And I am excited about our team. And I know the scoreboard didn't end up the way we wanted it to be yesterday. Sure, we'd love to go on and win at Butler. But I do think that's carried over from last year. I mean, it did not look good. And through hard work, perseverance, whatever those words you want to use, man, our kids did a great job of getting where they wanted to be. And so we're going to try to do the exact same thing this year.
So, okay, now you talk a lot about the intangibles, the competitiveness, the hard work and such. How does this team look for you right now in terms of maybe the last couple years, in terms of technically how they're going to play? Is this going to be a good shooting team, or is it a team that's going to need to get more inside game, defensive pressing more? How do they look strategically?
Well, I'm excited about our team because I think we've got a lot of size. We're really long on the wings. We've got really good size in the post. I think we're going to be a decent rebounding team, but I think we're going to be, for once, I think we're going to be a really good shooting team. I think we've got a lot of kids. Even our 5 men can really step out. I think our 5 men shot 3 threes yesterday, I believe it was. And so I'm excited about that. They can stretch the floor. When we can do that, now allows our drivers to get to the basket. You know, I hate to say this, Rick, and hopefully none of my players are listening, but we might be more of an offensive-oriented team, especially early in the season. You and I had talked about that this morning.
That's not easy for him to say that.
It is not. But I think our kids are willing to work on the defensive end, and we're going to get there, but it's just going to take some time because we're going to guard a little differently maybe than other years that we have. But offensively, man, I'm super excited. We've got a lot of drivers. We've got a lot of really good shooters, and I feel like we can score in a lot of different ways, which is exciting for me.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about the schedule. Again, you play for real starting next week, a week from Friday and Saturday. Little that crossover tournament at Purdue Northwest that gets you on the way. And then we're not home for a couple weeks yet for the first home game. Then you get a chance to go down to Florida the week of Thanksgiving for a big 2-day tournament down in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, we're excited about that. I know you are, too. You used to do a Hall of Fame game or something, or what was Shrine game?
East West Shrine game down there,
which everybody's wanted you to do their games. You do such a good job, Rick. But I know you did some games down there, and hopefully you can show us around down there and places you've spent quite a bit of time. But I know our kids are super excited about that. We'll leave a couple days before Thanksgiving and fly out and get to spend some time down there and get some warm weather. And for me, it's just about getting the kids to spend time together and having some of those experiences away from the court. I think that makes a big difference later on in the year when you continue to build those relationships and love for one another. And so we'll go down there and hopefully have a great experience, win a couple of games, and come back and get right into conference play. But it'll be a very unique trip, 5 days away from the friendly confines here, but it won't be a bad place to go down there in Florida.
And finally, Coach, based on what you've seen so far in practice and in games, and again, this is obviously a work in progress here, do you see this team as having pretty good depth?
Well, I think we do. Yesterday we were playing 9 guys, and we got one guy, a freshman, banged up that I actually think is a very good player for us as well. And we have another gentleman, he's our player that's going to join our team at Christmas time, who, due to some visa issues and different things, wasn't able to get over here just yet, but will join our team at Christmas time. And no pun intended, but he's going to make a huge contribution to our team. He's a very large kid and has played Division I. I think he's going to be a fantastic player for us. But I think we're just like last year. We had a lot of change. We had some guys getting injured and some different things and new guys coming in and out and all that. I think it's going to be a little bit of the same this year. We get a couple guys back from injury here pretty soon. We'll add another guy at Christmas. And just super excited to see this thing change as the year goes along. I think it'll be exciting for Panther fans to come out and watch.
Great. Coach Bert Paddock, thanks for joining us. Now you go enjoy some more of that Uccello's food here. We'll take a break, come back, and get Sparky McEwen back here to talk about this week's big game at Ferris State in football. Stay with us on the Davenport Coaches Show.
West Michigan homebuyers, if you're considering lenders, please contact Mario Flores at 231-638-0200 at Van Dyke Mortgage on the Lakeshore. It's a wonderful time to be in the market for a mortgage when you choose Van Dyke Mortgage on the Lakeshore. Van Dyke's loan experts know how to help you prepare and help you get approved. Don't wait for the market to be perfect. Start your planning with Mario Flores, branch manager at Van Dyke Mortgage on the Lakeshore.
Mario Flores, NMLS number 135862. Van Dyke Mortgage Corporation, Corp. NMLS number 3035. 231-638-0200. MarioFlores.VanDykeMortgage.com. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
And we are back for our final segment of the Davenport Coaches Show, live from Uccello's in Caledonia. And boy, I tell you what, they do a fantastic job hosting us here, especially wonderful Brittany, who takes such great care of us here at Uccello's. Not only here, our crew producing the broadcast, but also our Davenport table over there, which is such a big part of our fun here that we have each week here. We're here on a Wednesday night this week because of the men's basketball game last night, but we'll be back on Tuesday next week again as we planned. Coach Sparky McEwen joins us for the final segment. And, Coach, boy, I tell you what, it is so exciting to go into your second to the last game of the regular season, and you look up there and you see Davenport tied for first at the top with a 4-0 GLIAC record along with Grand Valley State.
You know, the work's paying off. as advertised, this conference is extremely tough, and we've gotten everyone's best. That's one thing I can honestly tell you. When I look at the tape and, I watch Saginaw Valley, and they played extremely well against us, and Wayne State played extremely well, and Michigan Tech got out to a 17-0 lead, and, Northern Michigan played tough against us, and we're picked last. Let's just call it like it's supposed to be called. These kids have honestly stepped up, and they've answered the call. Now we have a different task in front of us. We have the national champions, okay? And if I were a player, I would be so excited about playing and taking on this opportunity, and that's exactly what this is. It's an opportunity. It's respect. It's understanding what's in front of them. Ferris State just had a 40-plus game winning streak. To put things into perspective, Ferris State had a winning streak longer than what our existence has been. Okay, and it's important that my guys know this. Don't allow the ball game to be bigger than the reality. Okay, and the reality is it's a 100-yard field. Okay, and it's played with officials, 11 on 11, and you got to go out and compete and be smart and play as tough as you can for 4 quarters every down.
Now, of course, you're going against your one of your mentors, Tony Annese, who is an icon now in Division II college football, as you mentioned, winning the national championship, and he seems to just churn out quarterbacks among other things up there, and he's got another couple of good ones, Evan Cummings and our Carson Gulker, and again, you've already faced this to help, I guess, but you probably expect to see a couple different quarterbacks Saturday.
We don't care who we see at quarterback. They're all good. And they all run Tony Annese's offense, and they're going to put up numbers. And, so I've worked there, and, I've been in big games there, and we've played multiple quarterbacks. So we're going to get the same thing that you've gotten every year in and year out. They do a tremendous job of preparing their kids, so it does not matter who lines up. Whoever they line up is going to be a dude, and he's going to be a guy that's going to be tough. He's going to make plays, and he's going to play with, to be competitive. So we know what we got ahead of us.
Sparky, you've been at this long enough to know to have to know how to deal with this, but I think outside people don't really understand that in terms of your team being keyed up at the right moment, they really need to focus on building up to Saturday as opposed to being ready to go out there, because you can't play Ferris State tomorrow. You can't play them till Saturday. So how do you temper it down a little bit to make sure that they're peak Saturday at 1 o'clock?
Well, that goes back to what I was saying, and you can't make the football game larger than the reality. Okay, and the reality is that we've played 8 football teams. Okay. And in those 8 football games, we have to continue to do the same things we did in those games to come out on the positive side. These guys know. They know how I operate. They know how our staff operates. We've got to stay within the moment. You stay within the moment and remember what's gotten you there, okay? Remember what's gotten you there. If you could do those things, anything can happen.
Well, again, it'll be 1 o'clock Saturday against Ferris State, the defending champions, and again, Grand Valley's 4-0, along with Davenport, of course, and Ferris State just a game back, 3-1, and overall 7-1. Their only loss was that 1-point loss to Grand Valley State. So very much on the line, league implications, playoff implications, as coaches mentioned numerous times. This is what you play for. This is what all the hard work in the preseason, in the summer and everything, this is what it gets down to.
It comes down to this, and our guys understand what it's going to take to be successful. We have to be successful in what I call the angles, okay? They're an extremely fast team. They're a very talented team, but we have to have success in angles. One thing, Ferris has been very successful is in space, Okay, when you're in space, you've got to close down angles, and now you have to be successful in those angles and making plays and getting people down. And now when you get people down, it's got to be a physical affair. You can't make, shoestring tackles. Okay, you got to go up and hit people. Okay, and you got to play physical in one of those type of games, and it's exciting. It's exciting. We talk about these angles, and I call these angles as NFL open. On offense, we got to be able to distribute the ball and NFL open. And what I mean by that is their guys are so good on the perimeter. We know we're going to have to complete balls in the phone booth. Okay, and then on the other side of the ball, it's the same thing for them. So we look forward to our athletes matching up with their athletes and their big guys matching up with their big guys. And just see where things are. It's all about competing. It's all about putting our players in position to have success. And what other place to do it with than the national champions? Okay, this is the best, football team that's out there that just won a national championship, and they have that until they're no longer the national champions.
1 o'clock Saturday at Big Rapids at Ferris State University. I hope the Panther fans can make the trip up to Big Rapids and cheer on the red and black Saturday. If you can't, you can catch our audio broadcast on dupanthers.com and, of course, on Magic 104.9 FM if you can't, though. But hopefully you can get up there and cheer them on. Sparky, good luck Saturday. Let's keep it rolling. It's been a fantastic season, and let's extend it a little bit more.
Go Panthers.
Go Panthers. And we'll be back with next Tuesday. Back on our Tuesday again for our Davenport Coaches Show from Uccello's of Caledonia. Till then, go Panthers.